Dustin Combs joins us inside the Cardinal Playbook. We're going to talk a little bit about softball, even though the season is still coming up and you are still indoors, which I know is not much fun. But it's coming up pretty soon, and you've got some reason to be optimistic going into this year.
Yeah, it is going to be here soon, and unfortunately, like you said, we haven't been outside yet since October. Looks better on the forecast for the rest of this week, so I think we can get out and do what we need to do as far as seeing some live pitching, and our pitchers need to see hitters, and hitters need to see some live arms. So it looks promising for the rest of the weekend.
I know how this goes, though. You prepare for the worst, and if you have to be inside, you go inside. What can you get done inside when you have to be there?
Well, I don't think there's a lot of bad with being inside at the beginning. It allows us to get back to focusing on mechanics and really creating and reinforcing that muscle memory that we worked so hard on in the fall. The conditioning and the strength part of the program, we were able to do that, and then our pitchers have to throw off of turf mats and get their work done that way. But ultimately, it is exciting that we can be out the rest of this week, but I don't think there's a lot of downside to getting started at the beginning of the spring, so you can really break it down again and make sure that we're not overlooking those important mechanics.
Dustin, when you do get outside, is the cold more of a factor, or is it the wetness that becomes a factor?
Well, to this point, it's been both. It's been really cold, and we've had snow on the ground for the majority of January. We don't really have a temperature threshold. We just use smart judgment. Tomorrow really will be about the first day with temperatures in the 40s that we've had an opportunity to be outside, and we'll be on the turf here on campus, and then towards the end of the week we'll go off campus to another location.
How long before your first game?
We open up February 12th, so it's upon us, really. We've got a lot yet to get done before we play our first game, and hopefully we can catch a stretch of good weather so that we can just get more game speed opportunities and live at bats, which is critical. We would like to be in a situation where we've had about 30 to 40 live at bats before we play our first game. Right. So you're asking a lot from your pitchers to get 30 at bats in with 2 weeks left to go. So we'll make do, and I think that like I said, we've been able to stress the mechanics and the muscle memory and really learning the strike zone and doing some things that we know we can do inside, and I feel good about starting outside this end of this week.
You have been building this program over a number of years, and yet did not have the kind of year you wanted to have last year. Disappointed in that?
Oh, I think our program has been in a situation where we're always disappointed when the season ends. I think we set our goals really high, and it was a disappointing end of our season because we felt like talent-wise we had a team that could make a little run, towards the end of the season. We just let too many close games get away from us, and putting teams away is going to be more of a focus for us this year. I think, we've got to play at our level for an entire doubleheader, and with what we graduated, we certainly know we've got some holes to fill, but I feel very optimistic about this group. I think, the talent level has continued to get better. I think they're very focused right now. I think that they've really held together in what's been a frustrating stretch of bad weather. Yeah. And you just got to hope that unlike last year, once we start playing, we're able to get some momentum going and not be in a situation like we were last year, where I believe we went 17 days without playing. So, that's just that wasn't just us; that was everybody in the United States. Yeah. It was bad. So, I'm very optimistic about this group. I think that offensively, we've shown signs to be able to really string some hits together, and defensively, we're going to be able to play behind whoever we throw. And really, as any season, your pitching has got to be your biggest concern. Right. Whether you think you have good arms or not, it's got to be a concern. And we're in a situation where we feel like we have the right staff to give us an opportunity to win.
Those are three key words: whoever you throw.
Yeah.
Who do you have out there, or will you have out there this year?
Yeah. Well, Shelby McGraw will come in, as our senior, who was our pitcher of the year in our program last year, and we just pretty much know what we're going to get from Shelby. Great composure, really competes hard. she's not a strikeout pitcher, and that's why we emphasize the ability to play defense behind our pitching staff and pitch to contact when needed. We have a sophomore, Taylor Friesen, and then 3 freshmen, Maddie Greenstreet, Caitlin Bowl, and Anna Biondo. And really, as we go into this first few weekends of the season, we'll be able to find out more about them. But really, the opportunity to use all of them, I think, will present itself.
Yeah, you did. You mentioned a couple of people there that we're not familiar with. But how about the core players you have coming back, the kids that we do recognize from your previous teams?
Well, and one of Shelby McGraw being a senior is one of them, and I don't want to leave anyone out, but I think the one that has always maybe been overlooked at times, and what she means to our program is Erin Kramer. She's held that catching position down for 3 years, and I continue to argue there's probably not a better defensive catcher in our conference, and we have a very strong conference. So what she does, controlling our game behind the plate, the pitch calling, the work ethic, keeping our pitchers composure where it needs to be. I think Erin is someone who I think of immediately. Then we got Maddie Giles, who had a great freshman season, a third-team all-conference player who I believe will hit at the top of our lineup and offensively is proven to this point. Brooke Bernard, another sophomore that had a strong freshman season offensively. She'll play second base, and really we've got enough depth where we're at now that we won't probably look to move Brooke anywhere but second base. She's proven that she can play the middle infield spots, but I think her being comfortable knowing that it's going to be second base and let her just start worrying about hitting and take away the question of where she's going to play each day, I think will help her offensively. Nona Pauline is the most dynamic player we have, when it comes to what she can do offensively, defensively, her athleticism and her speed, I think, and her potential to hit home runs. I think she's just so strong offensively, and we're going to play her in center field, a position that not many have played in the last 4 years with Rachel Potman in the program. So, that was obviously a spot we knew we were going to have to find a leader out in the outfield, and we really, I think, at any time could be playing 3 center field type players in the outfield, at both corner positions in center field. So
that's a luxury.
Yeah, they can all really go get it, and strong enough arms, but most importantly accurate arms, and makes smart decisions throwing to bases. So those are the players that, as their career has transpired, they've kind of put themselves in positions this year where we're going to really rely heavily on them. And then, of course, Kelsey Morgan, at third base, and Kelsey had maybe what you'd call the sophomore slump. If you looked at her offensive numbers, that's what you see. But what those numbers didn't show is how many balls she hit right at people, and she got one of the worst streaks of any person I've seen as far as continuing to have great at-bats and not having much to show for it. And again, plays third base as well as anybody we've ever had. So, those girls, and then we've got so much versatility this year, and really the most depth we've ever had. We've got depth at every position, and I think that's going to be really tough for Coach Byron and I to put together a lineup every day. And I think our girls realize that it's just come and prove yourself every day.
Yeah, and that's a good situation to be in. I imagine you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Quickly in the conference, Somsol has been so good with their steady pitching. Others to look at this year in the conference?
Well, again, our conference, there's 4 pitchers in our conference that are arguably as good as anybody in Division II, and Indy will have another strong team. Bellarmine returns a lot of players, and Allie Foster, who's as good as anybody in the conference. I think that's what our conference is known for: 2 things: really good pitching and really good offense. And at some point, something's got to win. And for those programs, with Perryman and Foley and Foster, I mean, they're so good in the circle that you really have to scratch runs and then play exceptionally well defensively and pitch it yourself. So I think our conference is going to, it's going to be one of those seasons where no one's going to just run away with it. I think those 4 teams at the top will certainly beat up on some teams, but I think that it's proven anybody in our conference can beat anybody, and it's coming out and doing it every day consistently.
Dustin, thank you.
Thank you.
That's Dustin Combs inside the Cardinal Playbook, and when we come back, we'll talk some tennis with head tennis coach Paul Worstell.
Yeah, when it comes to training, for example, in this location, they've sent 3 technicians to be fully Ford trained. And what that means is they have to be aluminum welding certified through ICAR, which is our industry training body. They would have had to go through the Ford informational course, which is an online course. And they would have taken some other aluminum specific courses to enable them to repair this particular vehicle.
In 1902, Carrier introduced the world to modern air conditioning, allowing people to live comfortably, anywhere. Get ready for our next big cool idea. Now the people who invented home comfort as we know it are thinking about the specifics of your home and how you live in it. What if you could control your home's energy efficiency with a fingertip, or just let us do all the work for you? Well, what if is now what is. Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Call your local comfort experts, Hales Heating and Cooling, at 816-630-0200.